really know what's going on over there other than everybody's dumb.
The instant you step out of line, you say something that they don't like and they don't like you personally, they're going to use all those pre-existing laws and they're going to use it on you.
A woman exposed her male genitalia to women and underage girls. That's what happened.
It's pure propaganda and it's super cringe, by the way. It's super cringe.
Hello, Eric Butler. How are you?
Was that the Diddy voice?
No, that would be like this.
The soothing
What's up,
voice.
motherfucker?
Yeah, man, no complaints. Actually, I have plenty of complaints, but I try to bottle them up.
My dad was asking me about Arizona today.
Who's that?
I was like, I know somebody who lives there. My dad was asking me about Arizona today.
Oh, yeah.
He claims that it's very hot there, but his friend told him that it's not humid, so it's not that bad if it's 100 degrees.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a meme. There's a running joke here in Arizona that when people say, "Well, it's getting hot," and then the only logical next statement is, "Well, it's a dry heat." I don't know.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's fine then because it's a dry heat. It's not a desert.
I will admit it's better than the Florida humidity, but 100 degrees is 100 degrees. I'm blasting the AC right now. I don't know.
Me too. I turned it on just for this so I don't sweat butter. What I'd be sweating these days. Got a lot of disgusting stories, unfortunately, today. Well, mainly just one. There's a drag show in Texas the other day, I think yesterday. And that's fine if people want to do that stuff on their own. I think everybody can agree with that. You're an adult. But of course, they had to have children there. And people like John Doyle and Alex Stein, who's one of the guys who's gotten really big, a comedian, off of going to town halls and city halls and stuff like that and mocking them. People thought he was serious when he did like a pro Fauci rap, I believe is how he really popped off.
Culture jamming.
Yeah. So they confronted a bunch of people at this drag show, which had, there's a nice image of one of the drag queens touching a little child's leg. There's children giving money to the drag queens as they perform, like their asses are out, essentially, like wearing like a bot, like something on that like shows their ass. There's a sign that says it won't suck itself.
It won't lick itself, I think.
Oh, excuse me. That's one step too far. I guess I'm being offensive now. And they see nothing wrong with it. The people bringing their parents were offended by John Doyle and Alex Stein. So were they like Antifa Gestapo who were trying to push around this chubby black guy too, and they couldn't stop him because he weighed more than them, so he just walked through them. Whole bunch of nonsense, Eric Butler, and we'll show a couple of videos. One is John Doyle walking up with a, can only be described, it's like the Warriors almost, that movie, a gangland crew of non-gang members, but it's just a colorful crew of what I'm imagining are his friends and or supporters. And then the second one is going to be Alex Stein questioning.
I love this clip by Doyle, by the way. I absolutely love it, but let's watch it and we'll get into it after.
I'll go ahead and put it in the mode first, Eric.
You're learning.
I only have one question. Why do you want to put...
There we go. It's going to reset and it's going to restart. Isn't it?
It's just about to get good. No, come on.
Come on now. Play it. Play it. Oh, God.
I only have one question.
There we go.
Why do you want to put...
What?
An axe wound in between your son's legs?
That's the point. That's the point.
This is offensive to children.
I need to go. Let us in and get the ticket. You're not making America great.
Yes, we are. What do you mean? You're making America worse. You're bringing your children
You need to go.
to this event.
You need to go now.
You're literally... Someone better call CPS on you.
Please do. We'll pray for you. You must repent.
Says the man dressed in a dress.
I wonder if the mama bear instinct is going to come out in 3 years when the mainstream Democrat Party platform is they want to rape your kids. And they're all gonna think it's one big, smug little joke, these people, by the way. Understand that there is a bigger difference between 10 years ago and now than there would be between now and in 5 years when they're openly advocating for pedophilia like they've already started doing. You people are the symptom of a dying society, and you know it.
You're scaring children. Shut the
We're
fuck
scaring
up.
children.
Shut the fuck
But not you.
up. Shut the fuck up.
You are child abusers.
You.
You're not a real woman.
Shame on you. 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 Shame on you.
Your children should be home. Your kids aren't actually gay. You've just groomed them.
Shame on you.
You're
So, Eric, some obvious hypocrisies happening here. The person saying, you're frightening children's and then swearing at loudly and yelling. All they can say is shame on you, because I think intrinsically they know they're doing something wrong. It's just they want their children to be included into this thing so that they don't feel bad about it. And that's what I think is going on here. They want to bring in little Billy and Sally, which is always the names I use for children, because it sounds like it's from the 50s. But they want to bring these kids into their weird, I'm going to go ahead and say, like, it's not perverted in the sense that, like, you should, like, be in jail or anything like that. It's a weird sexual fetish to want to watch men dress up as women and parade around. I don't think you're not going to find more than 5 out of 100 people who like that. And they're bringing small children there, probably under the age of 10, and they see nothing wrong with it. And their only argument is shame on you and go away. What do you think?
Well, I think maybe you kind of said two contradictory things there, because I think at first you said that they know they're doing something wrong. That's why they just say shame on you. But then you said, well, they see nothing wrong with it. And I think the latter is actually right. I think that they have been so brainwashed themselves by this Hollywood propaganda, the media, all like I think you're more accurate in saying that they truly don't see anything wrong with this because their brains they've been manipulated so far that they can't and that's the whole point, right? Is that you is that you have been so manipulated to the point where, yeah, well, of course a man can be a woman. And that's the thing, right? That's the most biological basic truth. And they don't believe that anymore. So of course, every single other thought that they have now is 100% molded by this agenda. So they don't see it. They're genuinely not hiding it. They're not saying, oh, well, I think this might be a little bit strange for my kid, but I'm going to sneak and do it anyways. No, they got them dressed up in these rainbow clothes, and they post flyers and pictures and all sorts of stuff because the brainwashing has been so effective that parents, in their 30s, 40s, even 50s or whatever, can't snap out of it because, I don't know, it's just been a couple decades, has it been a couple decades? Not even a couple. I think only just maybe one. Like I always say, I went to college in San Francisco and this wasn't even a thing. Like there were drag shows, but we all knew that they were for adult men, gay guys, whatever. And you wouldn't have anybody ever pull up outside of a drag show in San Francisco in 2008 complaining because it was their zone and they went there and they had fun and there was no kids involved. Now, because Pride Month is taking over and they're bringing kids, like I actually love this clip from Doyle because this is basically what, or I don't know if it's Doyle's clip or who shot the clip or whatever, but this is basically what Leonardo said last week. Yeah, let's talk to him, right? I mean, let's talk to them. I mean, he says, I don't know if hatchet wound or axe wound or whatever it is, which is absolutely hilarious. And that these people are a symptom of a dying society. And it's all great because that's exactly what it is. And last little bit here is that have you seen, did you get a chance to watch What is a Woman yet?
I did. I was going to ask you the same thing.
Okay, so this is kind of, it all ties in together with this because these people, they know exactly what a woman is, but the key is to muddy the waters, and we all know that basically it just means their definition of a woman is anybody who agrees with us, right? Because they're not even gonna claim Caitlyn Jenner because they might have voted for Trump. So it's very obvious what's happening here, and it's disgusting. And hopefully more stuff. I love this. I mean, I think that they need to be confronted uh, in a pretty aggressive way, and that's the only way that anything's going to move the needle.
Yeah, I think that this point, especially with that movie, and most of the excuses where it's a woman if you say you are, even though they kind of can't decide on whether or not there is a such thing as gender. There isn't gender, but also I want to be specifically referred to as this gender, so that much doesn't make sense. And Matt Walsh, for those of you who haven't seen it, go watch it. Pay for it if you can, and you'll see that nobody can answer this question. And you do have sick individuals in charge of women or in charge of children. This one woman with green hair, of course, because all 50-year-olds have green hair, is a pediatrician. Doesn't want to discuss the chemicals they use to chemically castrate children, which is it's a fact. They agree that it's one of the chemicals that they use, type of pill or whatever the medicine they'll call it that they use. But they don't want to discuss it. They don't want to discuss the laws they're putting into place. They had a California, I believe, was it a representative or congressman that didn't want to talk about it, got 2 questions in, ran away.
Oh, yeah.
So this is what they're up against. So you see the people at the door there, and I guess I did step on my own toes by saying they know it's bad and they don't see a problem with it. I think what I mean by that, as I try to understand myself, is they know that they shouldn't be bringing children into this situation, but they don't think that the way that they parent is bad. I think that they think that you know, children need to be exposed to certain things just for the tolerance and acceptance, and we all need to try to be great people, and we need to bring up our children to be great, tolerant, and accepting people. But I think when you sit down with little Sally and she's 8 and she's holding your hand and she's asking you for guidance and like, is this okay? And then you say yes, give the man in scantily clad clothes the dollar bill, which completely is symbolism for a strip club, and you're saying yes to that child. I don't think there's any person in the world that would say that's good. And if they are thinking that, or they're not sure, they probably have something wrong with them. And so this is going to be Alex Stein's video of him confronting one of the drag queens, which is like, this is like, girls will give these people a pass. And I know the only defense left for this stuff is you're transphobic or you're mean or something like that. That's the only argument left for this stuff. And people will say that. But girls give this stuff a pass, and they always have, way before this was as big as it is. And they'll say, no, it's fun, they're just celebrating stuff. But I think that the number between girls that think it's fun might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a fun place to go with their girlfriend, and girls who think it's okay for kids is going to be like next to 0, except for these psychotic parents here. Or who are willing to bring it to them. So I think that the argument of, it's not a sexual thing, it's not a sexual perversion, I think that's always been false for the entirety of drag queens. It's men who want to feel good by dressing up as a woman, and they want to show off their bodies at the same time. If this was just women or men dressing up as women doing like a beauty pageant in like gowns or something, then I think there might be an argument that it's not a sexual thing, it's just a weird thing. But this, like, I'm even like censoring myself a little bit. I think it's 100% a sexual thing. The men like it.
Even the names, if you the names that they pick for themselves, right? Like if you that's pretty dark as well. Like if you actually look at some of the names, like the one that's of course coming to mind now is Laverne Cox, who has now has the
good name.
The new transgender Barbie doll, which is also weird because Barbie dolls never had genitals to begin with. But these are names that they pick for themselves. There was another one. I was actually watching another clip. I think it was from Libs of TikTok or something, and I forget that they also had Cox, like get it COX in the name, and the
Howard
last
Stern name or something.
Yeah, and Dr. Bendover. And I'm sure, a million people have said this, but I think it maybe bears repeating that this would not be okay if it were just a regular strip club. You're not going to take a little kid, boy or girl, to a regular strip club where you have real women maybe a titty bar. Or I don't know if it's full nude or whatever.
Yeah,
But
even if it was like Vegas, sorry to jump in, but even if it was like a Vegas thing where it's bikini bars, I think they're called, where they're just walking around in bikinis and serving alcohol, this is also inappropriate for 10 to 12-year-olds and all the way down and all the way up to 18. Like, this isn't a thing that, whether it's gay, straight, bi, or whatever these people are, none of this is okay for children. You can't bring a child into a bar, let
Yeah.
alone a strip club. Oh, it's okay, they're not getting completely naked. Then why aren't you doing this in front? Like, why aren't people doing it in front of these kids all the time if it's the normal thing to do? Like, there's a reason why people don't walk around like that in front of children. But let's show this other clip.
For little children? Do you like dancing for little children?
Okay.
every time.
We need to get in touch with the streaming company here, because they're really shitting the bed on this one. Like, this wasn't a problem 3 weeks
Amber
ago.
Heard, of course.
Is that what she said?
Well, she shit the bed. Get it? No.
For little children? Do you like dancing for little children? You don't think that's disgusting? Dancing around for little children? Away from me. Don't you think that?
We're getting hit with a lag here.
Hey, get the fuck away! Hey, well, you can't just touch me. You don't think that's disgusting? You touch me. Your mom's a bitch. Go on.
This is all they have.
Dancing for little children. You should be ashamed of yourself. Dancing for little children. You should be ashamed of yourself. Fuck him. Is he a child? No. You guys dancing little children. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You're disgusting. Think about what you just did. Okay, that's fine, but you dance naked in front of little children. You dance.
Stop.
Of course, the green hair, yeah.
Look at you.
Power mullet.
You dance in front of little children. You dance in front of little children.
So we know what the argument's going to be here, Eric. It's going to be, you're putting trans people's lives in danger. You're putting these people's lives in danger. Anything to protect the person who is dancing in front of little kids. And they tried to make the point, well, we're gay, so it's okay. I'm not a pedo. I'm just gay. But it's like, then why do you want to entertain children with your partial nudity? It doesn't make any sense to me, Eric. This is all just going to be, they have no argument. They just insult the guy. They just insult Alex Stein, and they're just like, why doesn't anybody understand that we don't want to be bothered? It's just so simple,
Yeah, well, it's obvious, right? I mean, why wouldn't they? If this is all well and good, this is all on the level, and it's not creepy at all, then you wouldn't be angry and swearing at him. You would just be saying, "Yeah, we did this." Like,
yeah,
this
exactly.
You would just
like, what? What do you mean? What's your problem?
Exactly. So, I love these clips. I think it's got us this. I mean, it's just perfect timing, right? With What Is a Woman coming out, and all that stuff floating around. So it's great that that it's really getting some pushback, because like I said, you don't just rug pull the most basic biological truth. And then of course, but they go back on it, right? Because we have to talk about abortions. So, well, we don't know what a woman is, but now we love women because they should be able to abort their kids up to 9 months or whatever it is. So, it's
Canada rules,
which is insane. So yeah, it's crazy that that this is happening. I mean, it just happened so quick, bro. Like 10 years ago, I don't think we were seeing this. Maybe I could be wrong, or maybe it's just getting more media attention. I'm not exactly sure, but it's strange, to say the least. It's disturbing.
Well, I think you make a very good point that shouldn't be overlooked about how much they feel attacked when confronted by this. If you have a clown or somebody who goes to entertain kids at a birthday party, a magician, and you go up to the magician after, you're just like, this is sick what you're doing, this is disgusting what you're doing, and the magician's probably just like, what do you mean? Like, what exactly are you talking about? Whereas this person's just like, you can't speak to me, and then they start swearing at them. Because again, they know intrinsically what they're doing is controversial, and if you can't understand why people would think this is weird and bad, then either you think they're too far gone to be spoken with, which I'm sure some of them do, or you don't want to have to defend it because it's that atrocious. And I think with Pride Month this year, They're really, really trying. And I was going to find one article from this magazine called Fatherly. It's a father parenting magazine. And before I even got to the article, this is what it said first. 10 ways to celebrate Pride Month with your kids. Why do you need to celebrate sexuality with your children? Nobody cares if somebody's gay or bi or anything. People stopped caring in like the 90s. And I know you know this, and I know all my friends know this, and I know everyone who was alive and thinking before like 2016 knew that people didn't care about this long ago. Of course, it existed just like racism existed, hate towards these people. But just like there was black people in movies in the late 80s and 90s prevalent in the spotlight, there were gay people around too, and nobody minded. But now it's not only is your sexuality an accomplishment for some reason, you should be celebrated just for the way that you say you were born, but also kids need to know about it. Kids need to know what you do in your bedroom. They need to see you naked. And this is the problem with this like sick magazine that's supposed to be parenting advice. Pride Month gives LGBT whatever people like, and this is what you do. I don't even care to say more than 2 letters anymore because of what you have done. This is how you have portrayed people.
Well, the T completely, if you really think about it, the T
has nothing to do with being gay or lesbian.
Negates the L and the G. You can't just
and queer is so different, like that you need the letter and plus, like, because it's all moronic, and the gloves have to come off at one point, and now they've gone too far in my opinion.
And just really quickly though, like I said, just like you wouldn't take a little kid, boy or girl, to a strip club because that would be inappropriate, but somehow these clubs are appropriate. It's very similar to like a little kid, you know, a third or fourth grader or whatever. You wouldn't say to a little boy like, you know what, let's go to the store, let's get a pack of Magnum condoms, and we're gonna go down the block and pick up a couple of hookers. And
just so you know about it, just so you're aware.
You wouldn't do that, or not even. Maybe the hooker thing is a little bit over the top, but you wouldn't say, well, let's go down to the bar and try to pick up a couple of shorties. Let's go to the local nightclub and try to get some chicks. Like, you wouldn't say that to an 8-year-old.
I think the condoms are a perfect example of a thing that's real that eventually you hope people are aware of for safe sex purposes, but you don't present this material or this knowledge to a child because the only there's no reason you want them to be aware of this unless you think your 12-year-old's having wild promiscuous sex, and if they are, then you are the problem. So here's a sick person, Heather Trado Gilligan, whom I'm not familiar with, but we're going to look her up right after. Pride parades and the pride festivals that follow are noisy and crowded. So that's the first 2 points. These are noisy and crowded parades. Fine. They're filled with sites that may be new to kids, like public nudity and kink. So sexual perversions and nudity. Not to mention that pride parades aren't the most sober of places. So that's 5 things now. So is it appropriate to take your kids to pride? Considering the benefits for all families, including seeing other gay and transgender families like yours, which you're assuming, of course, these people are, or showing up as an ally. So even if you're not, the answer is absolutely. So noisy, crowded, drunk, nude, and weird sexual.
And let's not pretend
stuff.
we're just talking about booze, right? Like let's be real.
Drugs,
These
of
are
course. And this is all things you consider, all these things, and you're just like, yes, send your children there. So let's put a face to the name, which we always do, whether it's good articles or bad articles. We show who the person is, just so they can't hide behind the screen. And let's see, do they have a Twitter? I'm guessing so they don't put it out there overtly. I wonder why when they're writing articles like this. And we can talk about this first if we want then. Since it's already up, Milwaukee Brewers Pride Night. What are they doing? Drag queens. Why? Is this something sports fans want to do, Eric? Is this something, 90, let's say 75% of baseball fans are really dying for a drag night? No, it's because some young girl or possibly some young guy on their marketing team says, we're going to get a lot of points if we have a drag show. We're going to really show how inclusive we are. I guarantee you that there are thousands of Milwaukee Brewers fans who are no longer fans, Eric.
Yeah, and that's why I think this type of thing is more risky. Look, I don't know. I'm not a baseball executive, but it seems like it's not worth the risk, right? Like with the Giants and the Dodgers wearing their pride hats in the same game and how cool that was. But think about it. If one player on either team says, maybe like genuinely, like I don't know much about baseball, but however, if there's 30 guys on each team, you
She,
got to
her. All we
assume
gotta
that
say about
they're
that.
yeah, this woman is awful.
That's all we got. She doesn't even list that outlet in
That
her bio there.
in her
Continue.
bio, what it fatherly.
Mhm.
Well, you got to assume that if there's, I don't know, 25 or 30 guys on each team, there's going to be at least one guy who actually might hold some traditional Christian beliefs or something and doesn't want to participate. And the idea that one guy won't wear the pride hat would be would cause such a stir. Like I genuinely think that if one guy chose not to do it, there would be people who never watched a baseball game angry and trying to boycott and trying to, cancel the
Mhm.
MLB versus the reward of what a gay guy who never watched baseball is now going to turn on a baseball game because
It
you
doesn't
guys have
even
pride
have to
hats
be a
and
gay
drag
guy
queens.
because they're not drag queens. Just 'cause, like gay guys aren't automatically drag queens. It's going to be the segment of the population that's already less than 5%. You're going to cut that into a percentage of 20, and then that's who you're targeting it toward. It's like when you target this in an election uh, sense. You target this tiny, like the conservatives up here. Several of them have been like, "Don't be biphobic." It's like, are there really like how many people are bisexuals who have had an instance of biphobia and the people that know about that? So how big of a segment of the population?
Biphobia.
Yeah. Her name is Michelle Rempel Garner and Aaron O'Toole, the former leader of the Conservative Party.
Okay.
Yeah,
Biphobia. Give me
that's
a
right.
break, guys. That
This
doesn't.
is where we are, Eric. And maybe one day somebody's going to dig this up and say, look how bigoted these guys are. But hopefully at the same time, the other people will be like, oh, look, people standing up for children because it's just gone too far. I think we're reasonable people. And I think when you start bringing children into bars, strip clubs to shove dollar bills into grown men dressed as women's underwear, you've gone, you're Jar Jar Binks times 10 gone too far. See the Star Wars reference I just pulled out
Yeah,
there?
they jumped the shark. Is that right?
You don't say. and I neither of us are hateful people. That's the thing. We get along with everyone. Especially you. You're way nicer to me. And now my and but this is it's just too far. And these people are still going to say, like, when I was looking at the John Doyle video, somebody has a comment. They're like, John Doyle fans are so stupid, blah blah. It's like, what does that have to do with this? What does this have to do with this? And Alex Stein, he's been doing this for a while now, just trying to ask these people questions, just like Matt Walsh. Nobody, you're gonna say Matt Walsh is horrible, Michael Knowles, Ben Shapiro, John Doyle, everyone's horrible because almost everyone disagrees with this sort of stuff.
Yeah, and this actually also ties in to the teacher from a couple of weeks ago, and the story that was pretending to be about a non-binary marathon runner,
Hmm.
but it was really about a teacher who was grooming kids in San Francisco and had a nonprofit giving away chest binders to little girls, right? So there's obviously that element. There are whether we can argue about the definition of the word grooming, but even that news article from a couple of weeks ago that is literally on the surface telling you that this is an upbeat story about a non-binary person who won a marathon, and this also works towards your point that this guy got an award simply for existing. I mean, how many other non-binary runners did you beat, bro?
Exactly 0 to 1. And Eric, we could have gone on week 10, I think, not consecutive anymore, but week 10, I think, of Leah Thomas. He was in the news again because he came out saying that he doesn't regret it. He's happy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very brave. And now there's an article, I think it's on my Instagram story from another Canadian outlet whom I won't name. talking about how there's two track people or two cyclists that beat out girls. Two trans men came first and second. I'll find it in just a second.
Wait, cyclists?
Yes, I can't find it anymore. It's not on my story, but yeah, first and second were two trans men, and
Trans women.
whatever they are, they want to be women. And now whoever is allowing, shame on the two guys, shame on the women who didn't say we're not competing with these people, and of course, biggest shame on the athletic organization that said, okay, you guys can race against these girls. And what a surprise, they crushed them.
Yeah, I'm still completely unsure as to how they gained so much power. I mean, this is a
Because
group
people
of
don't want to
people
be
that-
mean.
What?
Well, those people, look at the people Matt Walsh interviewed in that movie, in that documentary. Regular people on the street, women at a women's march, they're afraid to give the answer about what a woman is because they're afraid to offend somebody, and then that person says this person's a transphobe. Of course, the power comes when you say you don't care, but what if you do get fired? What if you do get suspended without pay from your organization? Of course, that stops when everybody stops being afraid, but young people specifically are so crippled in their thinking about what they're allowed to say and what they think they're allowed to say that they're afraid to say it because it might hurt somebody's feelings.
Yeah, and there was one. I think he spoke to one of Leah Thomas's teammates, and that was actually a little disappointing because that woman can't is speaking anonymously, and it's
I'm
like,
sure that you'd
well,
be able to tell who the person is anyways. If you just looked up who the teammates are, like they show like
Yeah.
their full profile, and yeah, but
yeah, I just thought, well, if you're gonna, I mean, if you want to speak out, then look, I'm not knocking the girl, but it's like if you want to speak out, you got to speak out. You can't. I mean, you want to be like, I guess it's not really a keyboard warrior. It's not like an anonymous Twitter account or anything, but it's like if you actually have a problem with this and you want to get your, say your piece, then you can say it. Like, because there was another girl, there was like a younger girl, I think, who was in high school or something, maybe, or going from high school to college, and she talked about how she lost to some trans girls or whatever.
well, there's
And
also
she
the
didn't
one
hide
girl
her
who's like
face.
Hungarian girl, who was on the team that spoke out as well. Or she came in like 16th or 17th, and like she was bumped out by one spot because of Leah Thomas, the whatever they're called, the swimmers, and her name was I forgot her name, but she was a Romanian girl, an Olympian who spoke out. And Eric, last night I was watching a great '90s movie called Varsity Blues, which I'm sure you've seen. Tell me you've seen it.
I have seen it, but it was many years ago.
Well, speaking of standing up, it was very James Van Der Beek stands up to John Voight in the dressing room, and he didn't just say behind the scenes and in the shadows he wanted to stand up for his team. He stood up in the locker room, Eric, and he said, "I'm not playing." And then Scott Conn said, "I'm not playing." And then Paul Walker was injured already in the movies, but he can say he wasn't playing because he already wasn't, but he was on their side as well. So I agree in a sense. Like, of course,
What was that,
this
like
girl doesn't want.
99? That was a long
I think it's like
time ago.
96.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it's like 96. Do you want to get into Hunter Biden now? You sent me this. You're all over Hunter Biden, I think.
Yeah, well, I just I found it a little strange. Of course, always shout out to the Daily Mail for having the longest headlines in the entire media
16
landscape.
subheadings as well.
Yeah. Well, I just thought it was strange that, well, of course, nothing's going to be done about this. I don't know if anything can be done about this. I'm assuming that this, this particular story is not illegal. It's just creepy as hell. But lonely widow, bro? Like, really?
That's very specific.
Yeah, well, especially considering him hooking up with his late brother's widow. It's just
so
too on
maybe
the nose.
that's why MILF crack cocaine porn. That's a sound bite we're gonna have to include in our next intro. And writer Dave from from Rebel News says that everybody knew about that his stuff was uploaded to these sites already. Like, so not all of this is new. He uploaded his own amateur videos and texted his Pornhub link to his phone, listed his contacts as dad. Imagine you're Joe Biden, and we're not fans of Joe Biden, obviously. Most people are not, statistically speaking. Like 65 to 70% of Americans are not. Imagine you're still, just from a dad point of view, your one son died tragically. Now your only remaining son is texting you links to his own porno. And I'm sure it might not even be Joe's phone. It's his assistant or something who has to read this to him.
And I can't understand why this would be happening. And I think it goes without saying, right? Like, but I'm going to say it anyways. If this were President Trump's kids, we would not hear the end of it. It would be on every
correct.
news station every day. We would, of course, mark the anniversary of the day it was discovered. They would be trying to put the entire family in jail. They would be calling them perverts and all the worst names in the book. But this is their guy, so we just ignore it. So as he's quite literally destroying the country, we can ignore all of this stuff. We told you before the election that this was actually Russian disinformation. We walked that back and said, oh, actually it's true, but oh well, too late, can't do anything about it now. And there's nothing's going to happen. These are going to be memory hold, or it's just like, how do we believe?
Funny.
How do we believe? Because remember, we were told that Joe Biden didn't even discuss Hunter's business dealings. Like, oh, we never spoke about that stuff. Are we supposed to believe that these two men are so they're so detached from each other? They don't even really talk. I mean, and we're gonna pretend that Hunter's upbringing has nothing to do with this, bro. You're addicted to crack. You're kicked out of the army. You're texting a contact who might not be Joe Biden, but it's listed as dad in the phone. You're texting him this stuff. So, I mean, because Joe Biden also said that Hunter was the smartest man he knew. Remember that soundbite? So which is it? Are they
went
completely...
on Jimmy Kimmel, remember that? And they just pretended like nothing strange about it. No questions about it.
Yeah, dude, it's absolutely mind-boggling how this can happen. And then when we see things like the child drag queen stuff and the grooming teachers, it's like, this is all this one just big disgusting mess of degeneracy coming from, I don't know, this establishment, and they're trying to make it okay. And perhaps this is part of the reason why they want to make it okay, is so that Joe Biden will never... I don't know, man. Maybe that's the tinfoil hat.
I think you're onto something there. That is a little tinfoil hat, but I'm sure it's going to come true. But they do, like, you have heard many people say over the years that they want to make this stuff okay because of what they do. And if they can make that stuff okay, then all of a sudden they're not criminals anymore. Yeah. And some of this stuff is hilarious, though, as much as it's tied to dark stuff. That just go research the stuff for yourself. We don't want to get sued for saying it, but just go research some of the darker stuff of Hunter Biden. But 2 out of 281 websites, 98 were pornographic. So that's more than a third. He's not doing much else on his computer. He had a paid Pornhub premium account. He did cam sites, and they specify which one. Maybe they're paying them now. And he Googled his sister's partying and arrest history among Googling himself. Like, he's searching porn, he's searching himself, he's searching his sister. Just he's all over the board here. Like, maybe it doesn't mean as much as we think it means. But, instructions on how to hack a lover's cell phone, repeated Google searches of himself. Let's see what we got here. Just looking like an 80 actor. Oh, he's an okay. We really scrolled down here. Is that a woman with a penis or something?
I think
I don't know.
I don't know.
Or is it just to the side? I don't know. Here's his, like, this is ridiculous. That ginger ales fit 40-year-old.
Oh
It's just
man.
it's weird to see. I don't think.
Teen Fidelity.
And then Prince Harry and Prince William pop up for some reason. Like he's just thinking he's got Coke on the table. I want to know, like, the Daily Mail person who just goes through that. Yeah, let's show it all. Like, we really need to show it all. Can you just be like, for a list, here it is. This is turning into a non-news broadcast. There's Hunter and Joe. Yeah, iMessage with Dad. He sent it to his Pornhub account, I guess. That's a famous one with a dog on the bed. Here's his face. Really weird stuff.
Oh yeah. There's the part about him farting.
I remember the phone calls were so good. And remember we covered that stuff. His recorded phone calls where he's just on his text where he's calling his friend the N-word all the time.
Oh
Just,
yeah.
he has no problem with it. He's really just a cool guy, that Hunter Biden, you know?
Yeah. This is dark stuff, bro. This is really dark
It is.
stuff. But we have so
John
many
Boyd
other
and Varsity
problems.
Blues didn't want to give the black kid touchdowns. You remember that?
I don't remember that at all. No.
Wow, dude.
James Vanderbeek. What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
No, I don't know. This is just it's so dark, but luckily for Hunter Biden, gas costs $6 a gallon, $7, $8. It's apparently it's getting it like we're gonna see $10 by next week in California.
Went up another 10 cents this week. It's at $2.12 a liter, which is we're almost up to $1 more than when the year started.
So we'll
it's
just
Russia's fault.
Buy a Tesla. No, don't buy a Tesla. Buy an electric, but not a Tesla.
Buy a Ford Leaf or whatever it is, a Chevy Volt, something else that will go 20. Yeah. The benefit of Teslas is they go so fast. These other electric cars are not going to be very fast because they're the size of like a toy.
I also saw a statistic from Patrick Bet David. You know that guy,
no,
is like a business mogul or whatever. He's kind of like, well, no, he's way cooler than Gary Vee. I was gonna like compare him to Gary Vee, but he's definitely cooler than Gary Vee. And he posted a statistic that I don't know, 80% or something of the lithium used for electric cars all comes out of China. So he's just pointing out that this push for electric cars isn't really going to benefit us. And ironically, it's going to benefit China, who, as I understand it, is still one of the countries that are guilty of most of the pollution or whatever. They're
going to say the lithium producers, and they are.
Well, yeah, but so
over 90% of the production of lithium batteries from China.
Yeah. So not only are we going to be beholden to them as Shanghai Joe or Beijing Biden, shall we call him? So that's the first thing. But on top of that, on top of us just being dependent on them, they're also one of the largest producers of greenhouse gas emissions or whatever, right? China and India, who haven't cleaned up their act, and Greta won't yell at them. So it's like not only are we dependent on them for these batteries that you guys want us to use so much, but you haven't even lectured them about their emissions or whatever. So why is how is it, how did we become China's bitch?
Did I ever tell you about how there was I did a video of it a long time ago on my YouTube, that there was a precursor to Greta in the 90s in Canada. This guy who's a super environmentalist named David Suzuki, complete hypocrite, tra-la-la, used to have these commercials that said, like they would show him unscrewing a light bulb on his porch, and then behind him, a giant smokestack from a power plant would go off. He's like, that's all you have to do to stop pollution is unscrew your light bulbs. So his daughter, and I believe 1994, I can probably find it. She went to the UN and she gave the UN shit for not caring enough about climate. And it was 1994, so she was nicer about it. She wasn't yelling at them like Greta, but it was basically the exact same thing in the sense that she went there. She's like, none of you people care about the environment. What are you going to do when you leave here today? Tra-la-la-la. My dad put me up to this. And
I think I vaguely,
just
I
try-
think I do vaguely remember this.
they just tried it again 30 years later. I think I put it under something called like they tried Greta before.
I think I do remember seeing not the first time around, but like
There
when
we
you
go.
posted it
Oh,
a
I found
little
it.
while ago or whatever, maybe a couple months ago or something. Oh, now we have to watch an ad.
from Brilliant. So this is
Yes,
the
I
girl.
do remember this girl. Yeah.
So she's at the UN in like 1994. She says almost the exact same stuff. I intertwine it with Greta. Look how handsome and young I am. There's not many famous Gretas. Internet's really failing us today, but you get the point. I don't know what that means.
I don't know
It's
who
much
those
different to
people-
watch a video without Greta Van Fleet, the band.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know them.
They're a band that pretty much sounds exactly like Led Zeppelin. But I digress, Eric Butler, because the internet's not cooperating. It's that damn Canadian internet.
Yeah, Trudeau doesn't want you to get the word out.
There's a great Rebel News video coming of I don't know if you remember, but there was a mayor of a city called Brampton that's near Toronto, and when everything was shut down and they shut down the hockey rinks. He got caught by our crew playing privately. Well, they
like with a couple of friends, I assume.
Yes,
Yeah.
he came. They caught him coming to the ice, and he said he was there to inspect the facility, of course, with his hockey bag. It was the most classic, and he's like, "What are you doing in a city facility?" Go watch that if you guys never seen it. Patrick Brown. They stung him again. They found him. They found a secret office he was using. I can't wait. I don't know how much I could say. I can't wait for this video to come out. But he's still so dumb. Like, and he's getting outwitted by two people. Well, he's got like a city at his disposal. So look out for that. Anybody who's interested.
How
in
does
that.
this keep happening?
He's an
how are
idiot.
these? But like, who are like people are really voting for these people again and again?
He's the mayor of Brampton, Ontario, Canada. Yes, like for some, I think what they brought him in, why they liked him originally, is because he lowered some of their spending and got the city out of debt. I could be wrong about that, but now he's running for the Conservative leader of Canada. And in the last couple of years, obviously, we caught him lying. He's really slimy, and it's just really funny to watch him like be like a TV cartoon politician who just like he keeps getting caught at the right place, the right time. It's so funny. He like I'll give do I give this away? I don't think I should. I can't. I don't know how much is public yet, but I think it'll be out this week. But you'll want to watch it. And then I have Ryan Long on my show that should be live probably as we speak. Ryan Long, like, what can you say about a guy who the first 5 minutes of the show is he talks about suicide, and then before we go to the premium version, he asked me if gay people have accents in different languages. So it's a fun, which my producer says is correct. He speaks Spanish. He says yes, they do. By the way, shout out producer who I won't name.
I have no
So
idea.
it's a hilarious show. And you want to plug anything besides writing for your reels?
Actually,
how are they doing?
I don't know. I haven't really been checking up. I got to get back on that.
I'll check for you, dude.
Well, because look, I don't know. I don't know if I have not been triggered enough to like make a new one, or if I don't know.
20K on your last one. 21.
27. And you know, I also don't want to
368,000.
I also don't want to, I guess, just talk like, okay, everybody's doing the gun control thing now. I'm like, I don't even really want to. It's like, dude, it's so obvious, especially with the gun control. The people, like, think about this. The people who are now claiming that only the government should have guns, would they still be claiming that if Donald Trump were to get reelected, or would they want the guns back because they don't trust the government? That's a genuine question. I don't know where they might stand.
No one should have guns, but if somebody comes for me with a gun, I'll call the people with guns.
Yeah. So they don't even realize, they truly don't even realize that people with guns are actually working for them. As much as they might not like the people with guns, or as much as the people with guns might not like them, they are literally working for you. But they've been so brainwashed that none of it even matters. But I don't know. I kind of got off track there. I wanted to talk about my the book, of course, because it might be going out of print
Right.
soon. So we'll see.
I've
We'll
got it
see how
here
that
still.
goes.
Under the
Um,
Pac-Man, I've got it.
I might be able to push it till the end of the year or maybe around the holidays, but yeah, with I'm not quite seeing eye to eye with this publishing company, so they are.
Well,
I'm not happy with them right now. So I don't know how
maybe
much
it's
longer
time
that'll
for
last.
Chicago or San Francisco for part 2. Take a trip. I know how you like driving.
Well, definitely San Francisco, because I don't know anything about Chicago. I've been there, but I have no skin in the game there. So maybe a San Francisco. I mean, there could still be, to be honest with you, there's still thousands of photos from New York that could be like a B-side or a part 2 of
Why
that.
though? Why don't you do a documentary while you're taking photos for the book of San Francisco's decay?
Well, funding. We need funding for that. But Uh, the difference here though is that this time around I would be going out with the intention to make a book and make a documentary. That wasn't even the
Mhm.
intention at first. I just
Yeah.
couldn't go to work. So I was just wandering around New York City and taking photos with my iPhone. I didn't say, "Oh, I'm going to make a book." It was just like, "Let's see, this doesn't really add up, so I'm going to go around and see how seriously people are taking this." And just ended up being a book about trash basically.
Well, you know how much I love that book. You know the game we play, Trash Human or Set of Tires. It's a wonderful game. Somebody asked if we use Dominion voting machines in Canada. Yes, we do. They use them for the last conservative leadership election. So, like how Americans would do primaries for a, a leader of the Republican or Democrat Party. They do basically just an election in Canada where you pick your top 3, I believe, candidates, and they weigh them weird. It's ripe for corruption. They've
Oh, it's
had to
like a
have
ranked
recounts.
choice thing.
Yes, exactly. It's like the NBA draft lottery with weighted results or something. What else I was gonna say? Oh, they want to pass new gun laws in Canada based on the Texas shooting,
Of
which of
course.
course makes no sense. They want their proposed legislation would ban all handguns, and they would pay just like they did with vaccines and shutdowns. They will pay each province $1 billion if they ban handguns. So they want to ban more assault rifles, which of course they just go by name, and anything they want to categorize an assault rifle, they can't go by mechanics because it's not consistent. They're not going to go as far as the semi-autos yet, which I think they might in Canada. I think Beto said this the other day that semi-automatics, and there's another guy that somebody from Fox confronted, and he's like, "No, I don't want to ban all guns." And then she's like, "So just semi-automatic guns?" And he's like, "Yes, of course." And then she's like, "Of course that includes all pistols too." And he's like, "Yes, no, I didn't say that." Because when people want to ban guns, they don't know anything about them. It's just
Yeah, they don't know what they're
how it
talking
always
about.
ends up.
It's kind of funny
Semi-automatic.
though.
It has automatic in it. It must be almost bad.
Well, it's funny, or maybe not funny, maybe totally predictable.
Mm-hmm.
That the very same people who deemed themselves uh, the all-knowing arbiter of truth about Rona and what you should do, how you have to wear a mask and you have to get the shot, are now telling you that well, yeah, I mean, of course you can't have a gun. Like they know what's best for you on every single level.
They
Rona's gonna
do
kill you
better.
if you
Yeah.
don't do if you don't do what we say. This gun's gonna kill you if you don't do what we say. And it's like, guys, just give it a rest, bro. We can see through it. We can all see through it.
Liberals know so much about stuff that they have nothing to do with. They know so much about abortions, even if it's okay for men to have the opinion if they say that they don't have an opinion. They know so much about guns that they don't use. They know what's best for black people without being black. What else do they know about? They know about the border besides, thinking the borders don't exist or shouldn't exist.
Yeah, but they're
They know about
also
what's best for children, even though they hate children. They don't want anybody to have them. It's everything good in the world. What's
yeah. Remember
behind you? Is that
the
the
old?
NBA
Oh yeah.
Finals?
It's just the Chase Center. I don't know. Steve. Anyways, well, because I think the game is tonight. They lost a couple days ago.
Steve Kerr's your
what-
guy, though.
Dude, what a coward! The guy is a complete coward.
And is it the manager of the Giants as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not coming out for the national anthem until something's fixed. If anyone has a problem, they'll see that the San Francisco Giants manager won't come out for the national anthem, and then they'll change.
Yeah.
How arrogant do you have to be?
Dude, this is where we are. It's sad, man, because it's crazy how it just happens to be these two guys in San Francisco. It's like, is it in the water? Do they tell you when you get the job that you're gonna toe the party line, or do they just get it? Do they just know that they have to obey? I mean, again, I don't want to get too conspiratorial, but it's just a little bit strange how these San Francisco sports authorities just immediately hop on the current thing bandwagon and want to, because Steve Kerr is still even walking around in a mask. He didn't wear a mask to do his gun control rant, but he keeps the mask on. It's like, dude, what is going on? And obviously, if he weren't so good at basketball, he should be fired, but he's actually good at the job.
Shot he got from being on the Bulls, and he got the one game-winning shot. He gets this platform forever. Yeah, I forget what I was gonna say, but it was something. Believe me, it was something.
Well, I was gonna mention, because you were talking about all the things that the left knows, even though they don't know anything about it. And you remember those old clips? I think it was Laura Loomer or somebody. No, I forget who it was who brought some illegals to, I think it was Pelosi's house or something. I'm gonna butcher the setting, but like, oh well, yeah, we just brought these guys from across the fence. They hopped over the fence. They live here now, so can we use your bathroom? Like, I got 3 illegals. They're pretty dirty. We're hoping to give them a shower, but of course. So it's like you want these people to hop over, but then you don't want anything to do with them after that. And it's like, dude, in America, in most places, you got to come up with 2 years of tax returns and proof of employment and a background check and ID.
People don't think about that stuff.
So where are these people supposed to go? I have to basically exactly. And they love taxes too, right? Like, they want everybody to pay their fair share, but you could just hop over the fence, and I guess you are now
Eric,
owed.
They pay sales tax when they buy something.
Of course.
Except they don't have to pay federal income tax. And if they do, that means they stole someone's identity or have a fake social security number, which you try doing that and see what happens.
Yeah, a real win-win. All right.
A real hot dog. We have a wiener. Seinfeld last night, of the one where they all have different experiences on the subway, really reminds you of Eric Butler of TatumReport.com. When you get the very grimy New York episodes. Andrew Says TV.com. You can find my latest show there. And UOPod or Unauthorized Opinions.com. Either one, and you will get our podcast, I guess it's called. Subscribe, please. Thank you for listening on Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube, Twitter. And if anybody ever watches on Twitch, which I believe one person is, our lowest platform of all, for some reason, we're not playing any video games, but we are in our mind.
Maybe we should go live on Rumble.
Is that for everybody yet?
I don't know. I
don't know. You don't know either. I'll ask Russell Brand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. It has a little go live thing. I don't know if it links. It's probably not. It's probably not linked to Restream.
We can probably get it the same way we get Getter. You can probably do it that way. Shout out Getter audience. Somebody on there before we go, they said, "Why is Andrew showing his legs in a show about groomers?" What? Because it's friggin' hot in here. All right, bud. Say goodnight, everybody.
Comment? Oh, I thought we were gone. We're gone, right?
No, we're not.
Oh, sorry. All right, cut it now. We're gone.
Turn it up, George.